Hi, I'm Nils Schneider. Thanks for tuning in to KartTV. Today I'm going to show you a not so traditional take on a classic Caesar salad. So first thing I want you guys to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so today I've got a nice thick cut farmer's bacon, and what we want to do is we just want to cut it into, not so uniform pieces. You can be really rustic with it, doesn't really matter. We just want to get a nice kind of crunchy little bacon flake per se. Okay, so now that we've cooked our bacon off to our desired doneness, we're going to strain our bacon onto a nice paper towel. Firstly, with the chickpeas, what you want to do is you want to strain it and rinse it with nice cold water, and then make sure that they're quite dry. Now, if you're vegetarian, you can use a high temp cooking oil. That's totally fine. We just need some sort of fat to allow the chickpeas to crisp up. So now we got the pan nice and hot, we just want to throw it right in the oven. For this salad, I really like to use like a green kale or like a blue curled kale. So what I like to do is I just pick off the stragglers on the bottom here, and then I like to grab with my hand and just pull. And then just do a nice motion all the way down the stem, and you should be left with something quite clean. Or what we can do is we can just kind of grab the end here and pull down. So now that we've got our kale off of the stem, we want to break it into nice, kind of small, edible chunks. All right, so this is my take on a standard Caesar dressing. It can be done through a blender or it can be done by hand. Today I'm going to show you by hand just to make sure that you guys understand each step of the way. All right, so I like to start off with some anchovies. For this recipe, we're just going to use probably about 5 or 6, depending on the size of the fillets. Now I'm just using the standard canned anchovies here. A really nice trick that I like to use is using a fork. So what I do is I just take the fork and I follow along the fillet and I just pull as I'm going. And enough to break it up so that you're not getting these giant chunks of salty fish. So next we're going to want to mince probably about a clove and a half of garlic, just till it's nice and small. Again, we're not looking at anything nitpicky. So now that we've got our anchovies and our garlic in, we're going to want to go and zest about a half of a lemon to 3/4 of a lemon. Just depends on what your tastes are and what you prefer. So now that we've added our zest, we want to add probably about half a lemon. We're going to add probably about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. So now that you've added your Dijon, we're just going to give it a nice whisk, and it should look almost like a paste. Now from here, we're going to add probably about another teaspoon and a half of red wine vinegar, and a dash of Worcestershire. All right, so now that we've made our paste, what we're going to do is we're going to separate 2 eggs, and we're just going to use the yolks. So we're going to add our egg yolks into the paste, and we're just going to start whisking very slowly. Then we're going to take our vegetable oil. We're just going to add a very, very slow stream. And as we're adding, we're just going to slowly increase our speed and making sure that everything is nice and emulsified. So I just want to add about a 1/4 cup. This is a six-person recipe, I believe. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to finish with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil for fragrance and body. Probably about a tablespoon is fine. Again, this is totally your preference. And lastly, we're going to add probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons of microplaned or shaved Parmesan. This is the last kind of binding factor. Cheese is nature's natural glue. All right, so now that you're done your whisking stage, we're going to just add our salt and pepper to taste. Again, this is completely up to preference. So now that you've had your chickpeas in to the oven, probably about 6-7 minutes roughly, we're just going to pull them from the oven. Now I like them kind of crispy on the outside with a little bit of softness on the inside. And then what we're going to do is just strain them right onto a nice sheet. I'm gonna just grab a nice amount of kale, just a nice personal size. And then we're gonna grab our vinaigrette and just add a couple dollops to our kale. Now with this vinaigrette, a little goes a long way. For one person, maybe a tablespoon could go the whole distance. I like to give it a really good working. So that said, it's a very forgiving green. All right, so we've tossed our greens in our vinaigrette. We've got our chickpeas, we've got our bacon bits, and I also like to add a little bit of Parmesan at the end. So, grab our nice kale greens here. Nicely seasoned, nicely dressed. Just do a nice amount of bacon bits all the way around. Nice amount of crispy chickpeas. All right, and we will add our radish. And lastly, just a bit of shaved parm. And that is Kale Caesar. I'm Nils Schneider. Thanks for tuning into KartTV.